Namaskaram, Namaste. The South Indian is here, and like I say, even as we get closer and closer to the assembly elections in Telangana, we shall try and focus on the state, the issues that matter to the people of Telangana, what the politicians are up to, and where people like us, particularly the South Indian, can put them on a mat and question them. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed a BC Atma Gourava Sabha, basically a BC self-respect rally in Hyderabad yesterday, flanked by actor Pawan Kalyan of the Janasena party. As you very well know, the BJP has signed an alliance with the Janasena party. Modi wasted no time in launching an attack on the ruling BRS, saying how it's a party helmed by a man who only cares about his family.
कांग्रेस और बीआरएस दोनों के ही डीएनए में तीन बातें कॉमन है। एक परिवारवाद, दूसरा भ्रष्टाचार और तीसरा तुष्टीकरण। इन परिवारवादी पार्टियों के संरक्षण में भ्रष्टाचार फलता है, फूलता है और अवसर भी सिर्फ और सिर्फ नाते रिश्तेदारों को ही मिलता है।
Of course, he focused on Parivarvad, which he has done even earlier. But you know what really stood out in the PM speech is his announcement that if the BJP was voted to power in Telangana, then it shall be helmed by a chief minister from a backward caste community. The Prime Minister also evoked his being from the community.
और जब पूर्ण बहुमत बीजेपी को मिला और देश में पूर्ण बहुमत वाली सरकार का पहला ओबीसी प्रधानमंत्री बनाने का आपने मुझे अवसर देकर के एक ओबीसी का सम्मान किया था। और जैसे इसी मैदान से पूर्ण बहुमत वाली सरकार का ओबीसी प्रधानमंत्री पहली बार बना, पूर्ण बहुमत वाली सरकार का बीजेपी का सीएम भी ओबीसी पहली बार यहां बनने वाला है।
The significance of the backward caste community has become the main narrative this election season, and the reason, of course, is the caste census carried out by several states. If you look at South India, even as Karnataka is mulling over releasing the census carried out way back in 2014-15, and there are lots of political and legal trouble there, the Telangana government conducted the Samagra Kutumba Survey, or SKS, also in 2014, which clearly pointed that BCs were the largest group in the state at almost 51%, and I'm sure that it's gone up exponentially. Although, much like Karnataka, the findings in Telangana were not made public due to legal wrangles, the data was indeed used by government departments for welfare schemes. Now, if the BCs are the largest number, then are schemes enough to bring the community at par? Enough that they can come into what we all call mainstream, which is of course another conversation. It is, many say, it is affirmative action, and when you look at the ruling BRS government, it did introduce slew of measures under the BC Bandhu scheme, like for instance extending 1 lakh rupees financial assistance to the community, or the Mahatma Jyotiba Phule Vidyanidhi scheme, under which a scholarship of 20 lakhs per student was planned for pursuing higher studies abroad, so on and so forth. There have been many, some people say they are sops, but the government did do what it could to kind of bring the BCs under its ambit. But you know what? Look at the hypocrisy. When it comes to giving out tickets to the community, the story alters. And this is uniform across parties in Telangana, except the BJP this time, which has doled out the maximum number of seats to the backward community. The Congress, on the other hand, has only 19 BC candidates between two lists, announcing contestants for over 100 constituencies, and the BRS around 22 of the 119 candidates. And the irony of it all is that the main clash this time around is between the BRS and the Congress. That's what experts are saying. And they are the two front runners, and they haven't given major importance to the BC community. And what about the BJP? Well, I have been saying for a long time that the BJP actually has its gaze fixed on 2024. And that's one reason why maybe there's a clarion call for a BC CM by none other than Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So let's look at the whole BC argument right now. Let's look at the hypocrisy. Let's look at that, why it's important, but still, some say they are scattered, etc., etc. The experts have joined me right now, and let me introduce you to the first expert, and that being senior journalist and political analyst Nagesh Kumar, who is joining us live on the debate. Welcome to the show, Nagesh Garu. I want to ask you that how credible is the claim that 26 odd communities of belonging to the backward caste from Andhra Pradesh were actually removed from Telangana's list? I mean, if you look at the genesis of it all, when there were two now of course there are two Telugu speaking states. When it was united Andhra Pradesh, did the BCs suffer, as in the list got depleted in Telangana, Nagesh Kumar?
You see, the list is fairly large. I mean, I don't think that's a major complaint that some communities have been deleted from the list. But the point is like this. You see, the BCs constitute between 51 to 52% of the population. But now, as you pointed out, the TRS has given 22 to 23 seats to the BCs, and Congress has given even less. Though they constitute, more than half the population out of 119 seats. This is a very small population. And while in your introduction, you used the word hypocrisy.
Yes.
In fact, I wanted to use the word hypocrisy because, look at the parties. K. Chandrasekhar Rao has never promised that he will do much for the BCs. He will have a BC as the chief minister. Now, to look at the BJP. BJP removes a BC as the party president in Bandi Sanjay Kumar. And now they said that we will make the CM as from the BC community. So a group of journalists, we put this question to Kishan Reddy, who, as you know, is the party president. How can you make such a claim after removing him from the party president's post? He says, no, we will make the CM as the BC. That is the reason why I am not contesting the election, to send a signal that an upper caste person is not in the fray, and that if it comes to that, somebody from the backward class community, whether it is Hital Rajendra, Pandey,
I mean, it's about sacrifice, tyag, like they say, Yes. Yeah. So I have that question for Guruva Reddy also. So I'm asking you then I'm asking you. You see, if Rahul Gandhi says, and I'm quoting Rahul Gandhi here because he comes to my mind, that if there are, let's say, 10 BCs in an area like this, then obviously a lot of, apart from affirmative action, a lot of, they should have political stake also. Then tell me, Nagesh Kumar, why is it that all the parties in Telangana are so queasy about it? They are very uncomfortable. Is it because the actual influence, Nagesh Kumar, is with, let us say, the Reddys, the way the Congress gave them the maximum? I'm not talking about Revant Reddy. It's very unfair to say because he's a Reddy. No, I'm not going into that. I'm asking you, Reddy's got the maximum pie, the slice, the tickets, right? Yeah. Then there is this, all this, consolation prize, you take two, you take one. Of course, they are very particular about, Gajvel and Kamareddy and all those main constituencies. So what is this? Why are they so uncomfortable? I just don't understand this.
The answer is very simple. They don't want to give the BCs their due. You see, now I'll tell you what. See, you mentioned Reddys. Reddys are now the ruling class. And now, take the example of now the Velamas. Velamas constitute between 1% to 2% of the total population. But there are 5 members of the Velama community in the cabinet, including Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao. Is it not a gross sort of over representation of the Velamas. So whereas BCs don't find enough representation in all cabinets. To the credit of N.T. Ramarao, who realized that the BCs were underrepresented in the cabinet, he was the only chief minister who realized that BCs in Telangana must get their due representation. And he sort of took on board a large number of BCs from Telangana into his cabinet. Subsequently, no chief minister has bothered about the BCs. Now what happens is these people are given some sort of shops. Can you believe it that there are 12 corporations for the BC communities? One for toddy tappers, another for somebody else. There are 12 for BCs. So now what happens is these corporations are meant to give the chairmanships to the BCs. So the BCs are sought to be kept happy by giving them the post of chairman along with the car, peon, phone, etc. But the BC at the ground level doesn't get anything. That is the problem here, which these leaders understand but fail to implement.
Absolutely, that's hypocrisy. There is absolute hypocrisy. You are right. Hypocrisy. What is the point of even affirmative action unless there is real power? And one of the reasons I see, someone like Ponnala Lakshmaya, he was explaining to me. He says, I don't want a consolation prize. Thank you very much. I want something. But of course, he's gone to a party, which is also doing lip service to a large extent. Let me also welcome the other guest. A. Sai Shekhar, senior journalist, political analyst, is with us. Dharam Guruva Reddy, senior leader of the BJP, is here. And also Roytin Roach, who is a political analyst, has joined us. Sai Shekhar, let me ask you that this is what Nagesh Garu and I were actually discussing, that despite all the tall claims, BC Bandhu, BCs are our backbone, that's what the Congress party has gone around saying. Why are they so comfortable in doling out tickets? I mean, power does not come only because of affirmative. Affirmative action, according to the fathers of our constitution, is very important component. But there is this is a hypocrisy. And also, Sai, in Telangana, there are around 21 BC MLAs, whereas proportionate to population, there should be much more. If you look at it, 51% in 2014 means they've gone up. There is not even, there are hardly any MLAs from the Vadera, Rajaka, Padmachali, Nai Brahmin, Vishwa Brahmin communities. Why is it? What is the reason? Isn't that hypocrisy?
It is. There is no doubt about it. But I would like to ask one question. We are not supposed to be talking about caste, but as you rightly knew, and Nagesh Kumar Garu are saying that it is hypocrisy. I would like to justify that. And for example, P.V. Narasimha Rao became Prime Minister.
Okay.
He was a Brahmin.
Yes.
I did not benefit any which way. Okay. So if a caste representative is at the helm of affairs, it is a wrong notion that the caste will be uplifted. For example, Draupadi Murmu has become President of India. She is representing the tribal community, ST. And Telangana government has adopted an assembly resolution enhancing the tribal reservation to 10%. But it is lying with the President's office for presidential assent for the last 4 years. And minority reservation has been enhanced to 12% by Telangana government, basis the population here.
Yes.
For in politics, in government jobs and other things.
Okay.
That has not been, that has not been done. And you are asking the representation of backward classes, the various castes involved in the backward, among the backward classes. If proportionately that is given, the winnability factor will be lost by the political parties, right. Be it the BJP, be it the Congress, or be it the BRS, or YSR Congress, or Telugu Desam, anybody. See, N.T. Ramarao has given a large representation to BCs and recognized that that is the biggest vote bank, and there is no doubt about it. But then, why N.T. Ramarao did not make a BC chief minister? So
Yeah.
it won't work like that.
But isn't KCR
It
Garu
has-
from the same school? He studied in the same school, right? Or NTR school?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, how come
Yes,
that? Huh.
so that is why they, in the process of governance, they create a lot of facilities for the uplift of the community, backward communities, and they try to give many reliefs for them to compete with the other world
Right.
that is advanced. For
Yeah.
example, Telangana government has allocated 6,229 crores in its current year budget, whereas it was 2,345 crores only when BRS or TRS has come to power in 2014. There is a threefold increase in the
Yeah, but
budgetary
is it,
allocation.
what about deliverance of it, deliverability? That is something we need to talk. But Sai, I'm very happy. You started by saying there is hypocrisy. And about Brahmins and I think that, the Brahmins, it's another conversation. I mean, we are talking about the marginalized and the discriminated, Sai Shekhar here. We are not talking about communities which have, for centuries been right at the top of the pecking order. So,
Exactly. No, I have given that as an example for the simple reason that the person representing that community or a caste at the helm of affairs do not benefit that caste in that sense.
Right. I'll come back to you.
BC Chief Minister is a meaningless proposition.
But then KCR Garu did say that, no? Before Modi, KCR Garu said that, BC Chief Minister, he said that we should have a Dalit Chief Minister.
That is done and dusted, Sudha. I have been thinking of telling you for the last 3-4 conversations. That is done and dusted. He said that before 2014 election. And soon after the election, he changed the tack and he went to polls in 2018 again.
Right, so it's done and dusted. But in politics, there are certain things which stand out because the context comes back. For instance, let me tell you what Nitish said. What Nitish said about women will come back. Will come back for years. No, I just, don't. I'll come back to you, Sai. Thank you for your patience. Dharam Guruva Reddy. Please welcome to the debate. I'm going to ask you, the BJP has claimed that, the centre has built 4 crore houses for urban poor. In Telangana, about 2.5 lakh houses were built. But, Mr. Reddy, I just see the hypocrisy is kind of ultimate thing when it comes to this. How come the BJP replaced Bandi Sanjay with Kishan Reddy? I mean, you talk about BC. Yesterday on the dais, I saw, of course, faces like Itala Rajender, I saw Lakshman Garu, I saw a lot of others. Of course, there was also Kishan Reddy Garu was also there, Bandi Sanjay was also there. But when you made the shift, because you said it's a strategic move, you can't just speak in a forked tongue, no, Mr. Reddy?
No, see, changing of Bandi Sanjay's presidentship doesn't have any direct link with the, the slogan of BC, the CM for Telangana by BJP. First thing, we need to make sure that let us not mingle and mince sentences or words or maybe context here. The concept of encouraging BC candidates and concept of encouraging BCs and at the helm of the political affairs is the particular strategy adopted by Telangana BJP at the moment. Because, if you might say, my friends might say that 2014 Ponnal Lakshmaya experiment by Congress failed. 2018, R. Krishna experiment by Chandrababu Naidu failed. This is because the leader which you projected as a CM candidate or the, president of the state party by those two parties were not accepted as, CM faces. But now we have enough number of leaders like Bandi Sanjay, like, Itala Rajender, who represent the BC communities and who have got acceptance at that stature of a CM. Now, because we have a leader who's accepted, and then because the polarization of BC youth is happening, and because all other parties have ignored in the past, picking up or giving opportunity to BC candidates in political affairs, as political candidates for assembly as well as maybe upcoming in parliament. It did not happen in the past, but now BJP wanted to give it give an opportunity for all those deserving guys or all those aspiring guys. Now it may be an experiment and in the political point of view or analyst point of view. But if you look at the response at Gajwel, we wanted to bring in people, gather Karyakartas and public to a rally yesterday, 2 days ago when Retail Rajendra was filing a nomination. We wanted to gather 10,000, for the rally. But what happened from the villages? There is a voluntary response. 70% of the the gathering was voluntary. Can you believe that? And instead of 10,000, we got about 16 to 17,000 people gathered, and we cooked food for 10,000 people, and we had to double it
Mr.
at the
Reddy,
crowd. Response is positive.
yeah, Mr. Reddy, let me tell you with due apologies to you, sir, and with humility, let me submit. In journalism, there is this one kind of journalism is during elections, I go and write a report saying I spoke to the cab driver and he told me which party is winning. Similarly, this whole rally thing really does not wash. I can give you many examples of voluntary participation in rallies, but it has no meaning. Mr. Roach, welcome to the debate. And Mr. Roach, a couple of weeks ago I had discussed with you about how the Christians, because you were also a part of it, and it was widely reported as to how the Christians feel very cheated and they want political parties to give them their due. You said it should be secular and we shall support anybody who's secular. Today we are talking about the backward communities. The thing is, much like what we discussed about before, I discussed about Christians, I also spoke about minorities as in Muslims. Everyone had one thing to say. They say that the KCR Garu, and I am not sitting on judgment just on him, Congress, KCR, BJP, anyone, they will announce all the SOPs, but the delivery is extremely poor. It's actually bordering on being pathetic. For instance, the BC's 9 lakh applications apparently are still lying with the government. I do not know, my sources tell me, and the government has been challenged whether this is a true figure or not. 9 lakh applications, also such a long time to get a BC certificate from the government. So what's the point? I think it's just hypocrisy. I think it is just lip service. It is like just doing due diligence without having any diligence.
Well, good evening to everyone. See, as we speak about the reservations and the number of, I go ask for the strength of the community to allocate them the seats and all. It is very much true what we talk about. But in real practicality, what happens is there's no proper leadership even from the certain communities. Like, see, if you look at the constituencies that people are there from the BC community, which has a larger number, but the leadership is not there. So this is what's lacking actually. So the communities need to build their leadership in the right place, in the right way, and the right time. That is one thing what we have to do to even get a representation into any other political parties. So we can't even say that the person is there, he's from the BC community, or from the Christian community, or from the Muslim community. We can't say that. It doesn't matter for us. The thing is, in the ground reality where you have your population, you need to have your leader. That is the most important thing you have to build on. Maybe it was not done before, but I think now people need to understand. And if you look at even now, compared to BJP and what's happening, like even what the Prime Minister is saying, a BC Chief Minister, the thing is, he knows very well, he is tapping these people know very well how to trap these people. Now he's putting forward a bait, which is not, it cannot be swallowed by a shark also. So he's trying to project himself, stating that he's going to give a BC as the Chief Minister. And when you know very well that you are nowhere in the fray, so these type of discussions are only to talk, just to get the people into your trap. That's what they are doing, and that's what the BJP is doing now. So I don't see any way that by saying having a BC Chief Minister, you're going to convince the people. No, it's not going to happen. When you can't do it, why not he's applying the same thing in Rajasthan and other places? Other places maybe are going for polls, other 4 states. Why are we not happening there?
Right.
Why are we saying it here?
Yeah.
And one more thing, let me complete. You asked me another question also. When you talk about the application spending, see what's happening is the government and the administration, the political party, the government as a political party, and the administration are not working along together. Like the government has, like the TRS, the BRS government, they have an intention to give something to the people. Okay, more than about 7
No, no,
lakhs or 6 lakhs
intention
or
is
8 lakhs, whatever.
okay, but it's a machinery, Mr. Roach, and it has to work, absolutely.
But that's not happening.
It's
That's
not
what
happening.
it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
happening.
So I mean,
It's
I
not
will
happening.
only look at,
The
see,
same
this
thing.
is what I
No,
mean.
even the same thing
If
what I
I'm
said
a
you, the
voter,
same thing what I
and
said.
no, I will look at it only from the prism of happened, did not happen. I'll come back to you. Nagesh Kumar, this is what I want to ask you, considering you spoke about NTR Garu, who of course abolished the Patel Patwari system, and he got OBCs into the entire ambit, marginalized people who were subjected to harassment. There were reservations in local bodies empowering OBCs. Really, that's what NTR did. KCR is from that same school. Now, when you look at the past 2 elections, when the Telangana movement happened and even later, I think KCR had the support of OBCs, he did. But the point is, they have moved away from him despite the SOPs, despite the scholarships, despite the SOPs for education, despite whatever 1 lakh rupees assistance, etc., etc. Why do you think? Do you think it's because they are not a homogeneous group? They do not actually vote en masse, for one, because there are communities and communities within. Or you think that they are now fed up of all these empty promises made by, the BRS government? What do you think is the reason?
Sir, you are spot on. See, there are, as you said, about 130 communities.
Yes.
And it's a wrong notion to think that all these communities are, they vote en masse in favor of a particular party. The same is the case with the Kapus in Andhra. The notion is that the Kapus will vote either in favor of Pawan Kalyan or Mudragada Padmanabha earlier. It never happened that way. They were politically divided between one party or the other. So that is the problem. Another point that has been raised by the previous speakers is that why should we have backward classes in higher positions, say from the president to the lower levels? See, it's a whole question of empowerment of the backward class or the OBCs for that matter. And then through empowerment, we expect that there has to be a trickle down effect. If a person is a minister, then he will automatically try to pay more attention to the budget that is there. What happens is that often the money allocated for the SC subplan, ST subplan, and for the BCs is not often spent as it ought to be, and at the end of the year, the government cuts a sorry figure that it has not spent the money. So if they at the top level, there are people from the community, this sort of thing will not happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me go to Sai Shekhar now. Sai, I want to ask you something that I want your opinion on this, that is it also the reason because the community, backward community, caste community is so segregated, like Nagesh Garu just now said, 130 communities, Mudiraj and so many other communities. Is it also the reason that if you are smart when it comes to politically, and KCR is one of the smartest politicians in India, I'm sticking my neck out, I think he knows the pulse of the people. Do you think, is it also one of the reasons why they haven't distributed a lot of, a greater number of tickets to the community? Because there is a kind of a severe criticism from the Mudiraj community, for instance.
See, every community, every caste is fragmented, every community is fragmented. For example, you take, as you rightly pointed out, backward classes. There are so many, hundreds of communities involved in that. And similarly, scheduled castes. Malas, Madigas is what we know.
Yes.
But then there are several other fragmented communities in the scheduled castes, and Madigas wanted an exclusive horizontal reservation among the SC reservation to their communities basis the population in every state. And there is an agitation going on since 1996 on this in Andhra Pradesh. And similarly, see, there is no unity in that sense. All BCs coming together, all SCs coming together, all upper castes coming together. For example, Reddis are upper caste, Kammas are upper caste, Kapus are upper caste, and Velmas are upper caste. Are all of them together? Definitely not. So they cannot be seen as a unit in that sense.
Right.
So naturally, political advantage,
Right.
winnability, and spending capacity. These are the things that political parties, apart from their qualifications and then experience, while giving tickets.
Yeah, but then how cheated must these communities feel, by these empty promises? Guruva Reddy,
supposing we make one R.A. Katika chief minister, Rajaka will feel bad, or Barbers community will feel bad. So it becomes an issue. If one BC is made the chief minister, what about the other communities?
Right.
He will take care of his own caste.
Yeah. So this is what I know. What you said was very, very right, and that's the mess that we've all gotten into. Mr. Guruva Reddy, I want to come to you. Do you concur? Do you agree? That your party, like Mr. Roach also said, that this is the last trump card that Mr. Modi throws. Says, if the party comes to power, we will have a BC chief minister, much like the way you helped me become prime minister of this country. It's very clear that you've actually signed out of 2023, haven't you? You're looking at 2024 more closely. And please, Mr. Narendra Modi, like I said about KCR Garu, Mr. Narendra Modi is astute, unlike how? Please answer that question under that ambit. I mean, is it a long-term plan, sir? You have to unmute, sir. Yeah. Some problems.
I think it's all right.
Yeah, it's right. It's okay, sir.
See, I would not agree with that argument. Basically, BJP's fundamentals is reaching out to the poorest of the poor. And in the whether you meet BCs, whether you meet SC, STs, or whether you meet winnable leaders, or this is the point of view which the organization takes care. Now, our organization has done a lot of surveys prior to choosing candidates in certain constituencies. Now, when the slogan of going all out in picking up BCs, encouraging BCs, and picking up a BC CM, this time we have chosen maximum number of tickets to the BCs in the general category. I know some of the hardworking Reddy candidates, they lost. They had to sacrifice the seats,
right,
because of the upper cause, the cause of the party, or cause of the people that the party is looking at. Because any political party would like to increase its vote bank, at the same time would like to do transparency and justifiable reach out to people where they can trust. Suppose if there is a Reddy candidate who's been MLA candidate for the past 3 or 4 terms, and if he's been replaced, although he must be a winning candidate, but if he's been replaced with a BC guy, they're trying to instill confidence in BCs and SCs or downtrodden classes by also simultaneously asking the Reddy candidate, who's a leader, who's a very well-known figure in that area, to support him in winning the election, so that the government is formed, he can be taken care in other ways. He can become an
okay.
Right?
Mr. Roach, I want to come to you because I've completely run out of time. Mr. Roach, do you think that this BC gamble that Mr. Modi has now played, and many people are saying that when Modi comes, he changes the tide of any election. Do you think it's going to have an impact? I'm not talking about the BJP's impact in Telangana, but will it also in some way have a domino effect on BRS and the Congress? Will they now look very closely at what they have done? Because I don't think both parties have really done brilliantly, sir. I think they are lagging behind so far as ticket distribution is concerned.
Okay, to come to a very clear picture on this is, see, there's not going to be much of change in the mind of the people, because people have made up their mind what they have to do and what they want to do. So whatever, see, Telangana, the South is something different. South is different compared to the North. So you have two aspects of the people who has a different set of mind, and people have understood what it is. Even people to the extent have even come up to say that, okay, if somebody is giving you money, take the money, but vote for the right candidate you think so. Okay, so that to that extent, that is one thing. What we have to understand is there's not much of a going to be a game changer which is there. Okay, regarding the other aspect of it is what we talked about yesterday's meeting, which the Prime Minister was addressing. It was almost about more than 70% of the people were not from the BC community.
Okay.
The people who came there for the meeting, it's hardly 30% were from the BC community.
How do you know?
We know because we know the people who attended also. We know from where people were brought in also. We know how people came also. So it's very clear. It's very evident. See, I'm from the state. I'm here on the ground. On the ground, we are roaming constituency. So we know exactly what our people have attended. Now see, the instead of Mr. Pawan Kalyan coming in there, that really showed the youth coming in over there because there's a youth following from Mr. Pawan Kalyan. Pawan Kalyan has the youth following. That's the reason why he doesn't have a vote bank. So people who are attending his meetings are all youngsters. So even the number of people, the youth also came there, quite youngsters came. And it was only because of the popularity and the famous leaders who were there who attended the
So
program.
you say it was a fake audience, fake crowd. I mean, it really does not really, you don't think that it is just a thing, but I think that Mr. Modi is looking at 2024.
No, it was purely just a 30 to 35% the max of people from the BC community. The rest, all the people who came there were brought in to attend the meeting, just to fill the stadium. That's what it's all about.
All right. Okay, I've completely run out of time, but thanks are due to all my guests. Thank you very much, Mr. Roche. Thank you so much, Mr. Reddy. Thank you, Sai. Thank you, Nagesh Kumar. It was a pleasure speaking to all of you. Thank you indeed. You know, some statements are made by politicians which are never forgotten. One guest just now told me that something was said years ago. Why do you keep referring to it? Because the people remember this statement, this story that I'm going to talk to you about. At least the women of this country will neither forgive nor ever forget. The Prime Minister was in Guna, Madhya Pradesh today, and while addressing an election rally, trained his guns on Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, who according to me shall go down in recent history as having spouted the most crass and misogynistic comment on women over his birth control remark in the assembly.
वो इंडी अलायंस के नेता ने विधानसभा के अंदर जिस सभा में माताएं बहनें भी मौजूद थी, कोई कल्पना नहीं कर सकता है ऐसी भाषा में बद्दी बातें की। कोई शर्म नहीं है उनको। इतना ही नहीं, इंडी अलायंस का एक भी नेता माताओं बहनों के इतने भयंकर अपमान के खिलाफ एक शब्द बोलने के लिए तैयार नहीं हुआ।
Please note that the Prime Minister did not name Nitish Kumar, but there was enough indication, and the Prime Minister is absolutely right. How come any of the leaders, whether it is Stalin, whether it is other leaders like Akhilesh, whether it is Mamata Banerjee, why haven't they spoken about Nitish Kumar, who was plain and simple derogatory towards women? Now, Nitish Kumar, while speaking on the floor of the assembly during a debate on caste census, made extremely objectionable remarks while underlining the need for girls' education to check population growth. While perhaps he was intending to say that women should be educated to enable them to avoid sexual intercourse resulting in pregnancy, he used words and phrases which can only be termed as crass and misogynistic.
पूरी चीज है तो जो हम लोगों ने कहा कि अगर पढ़ लेगी लड़की और वो जब शादी होगा लड़का लड़की में तो उसी में और पैदा हो जाता है। और लड़की पढ़ लेती है तो हमको मालूम था कि वो करेगा, ठीक है, करता तो है, तो उसी में आप समझ लीजिए संख्या घट रही है।
Wow, that was Sushasan Babu. And look at that man who was sitting behind him, laughing away to glory as if the Chief Minister has cracked the best joke ever. There was, of course, vast criticism from several political leaders across the board, and I would like you to listen to what women representatives, women who are in politics, said on the same issue as also the chairperson of the National Commission for Women, or NCW, who demanded that Nitish Kumar tender an unconditional apology.
बहुत ही घटिया सोच है ये बिहार के जो मुख्यमंत्री हैं, उन्होंने जिस तरह से बात की, वो भी असेंबली में, कि एक महिला के बारे में, और जो एक महिला और एक पुरुष के बीच में जो चार दीवारियों के बीच होना चाहिए, उसको इतनी ही बेहुदा घटिया ढंग से जिस तरह से उन्होंने उसके बारे में बात की है असेंबली में। और उनका बेटा कहता है कि ये सेक्स एजुकेशन के बारे में था। तो मैं पूछना चाहूँगी कि असेंबली में कौन से सेक्स एजुकेशन की बात कर रहे हैं हम? वहाँ पे किसको सेक्स एजुकेशन की ज़रूरत है? जो सीनियर सिटीजन्स बैठे हैं, नीतीश कुमार जी की उम्र के लोग बैठे हैं, उनको ज़रूरत है? या जो लॉ मेकर्स जो चूज़ करके वहाँ पर एमएलए बैठे हैं, उनको सेक्स एजुकेशन की ज़रूरत है? और मेरा सबसे पहले ये सवाल उठता है कि हम जो एक गठबंधन की बात कर रहे हैं, इंडिया गठबंधन की बात कर रहे हैं, तो वहाँ की प्रियंका गांधी जी या सोनिया जी या ममता बनर्जी इसके बारे में क्यों नहीं बोल रही हैं?
तो शब्द उन्होंने इस्तेमाल किया, ये तो बहुत ही शॉकिंग है। आप कॉन्ट्रासेप्शन के बारे में आप लोगों को समझाने की बात कर रहे हैं और इस प्रकार के शब्द आप इस्तेमाल करेंगे जो निश्चित रूप पर वो बहुत ही गलत थे। ऐसे शब्द इस्तेमाल करना बहुत ही गलत है।
On behalf of every woman of the country, is deeply concerned that the way he spoke was like a C-grade movie dialogue in the assembly, in front of women, in the assembly, in front of everyone, and the worst was men sitting behind, they were also laughing. That was worst. So मुझे लगता है कि कोई भी कंसर्न नहीं था कि वो कह क्या रहे हैं।
Nitish, of course, later apologized for his comments. But as a woman, I think Prime Minister Narendra Modi echoed the thoughts of lakhs and lakhs of women who shall always hold Nitish Babu guilty more for his thoughts than his words. Soch kharab hai. And both are, of course, reflective of each other. Listen to what the Prime Minister said yet again.
वो इंडी अलायंस के नेता ने विधानसभा के अंदर जिस सभा में माताएं बहनें भी मौजूद थी, कोई कल्पना नहीं कर सकता है ऐसी भाषा में बद्दी बातें की। कोई शर्म नहीं है उनको। इतना ही नहीं, इंडी अलायंस का एक भी नेता माताओं बहनों के इतने भयंकर अपमान के खिलाफ एक शब्द बोलने के लिए तैयार नहीं हुआ।
Nitish Kumar needs to take a good long look at himself while speaking about women. And he must know that there are many decent methods of speaking about population control than resorting to such crass and sexist remarks. With that, the South Indian will say goodbye, Vanakkam, but tomorrow I shall come back once again, bring you lots of stories which will make you think, particularly in the election season. Vanakkam.